Hey Musties! So the initial critics reviews are pouring in, and well, not pouring in quite because there is no grand red carpet rollout premiere for Godzilla vs. Kong due to COVID. But across the world, the film's already been released. We're pretty much just waiting here in the United States and maybe a few other countries, I'm not sure. But we have at least 29 solid critic reviews here, at least to look at. No audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. But let's just run through some of this real quick and get an idea of what to expect. Let's see here. 79%, 29 reviews, sitting at mostly positive fresh. Critics' consensus. Delivering squarely on its title, Godzilla vs. Kong swats away character development and human drama to deliver all the spectacle you'd expect from giant monsters slugging it out. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm afraid of. It's going to be more like King of the Monsters, just dumbed down dialogue, but fun. As long as there's more daytime scenes, I think I'm going to enjoy this more than King of the Monsters. King of the Monsters was such a shift in tone because Godzilla 2014 was so serious, it caught me off guard. But now that I know what to expect, I don't have to worry about the film jumping the shark because I already know it's going to. I can just go in, shut my mind off, and enjoy this. It really is just the monster version of the live-action Transformer films. Now I'm going to skip over the plot summary because there are some heavy spoilers there. Alright, our first critic says, all your senses will be so overwhelmed by the visceral action and the forceful metallic synth score that trying to make sense of the idiotic story is about 74th down your priority list. 3 out of 5. So yeah, she was entertained, but in that Transformer sense. Next up, Dominic. Cinema's two biggest beasts throw down in this crazy entertaining blockbuster, emphasis on the crazy. If you've seen the first trailer, you know they're fighting on top of a boat, which makes no sense, but it's cool. As much as I want a serious take on Godzilla so that the rest of the world can see what I find interesting in Godzilla, this isn't it, but it's still going to present so many new opportunities for Godzilla to be over the top and see all new sides of Godzilla that we would never have the chance to see otherwise. I loved Shin Godzilla, but this gets to have some of the cheesy fun. And while I don't want to dwell on the cheesy fun forever, for the Monsterverse, it can keep doing that for all I care. So the third review by a person named Matthew. Big, loud, and filled with a keen awareness of what kind of film it is and what its audience wants. 4 out of 5. Luke says, after 3 decades of CG movie overkill, it's easy to take this kind of rambunctious spectacle for granted, but Wingard works hard to fill the frame with sound and fury as if to wonder, are you not entertained? That's great. That's refreshing. How many people talk about overkill CG, when you get to the final battle, you're just checked out. You're desensitized to all the wonder and spectacle of CG because it's just so broadly used. But Luke is arguing that I guess it stays entertaining the entire time. James gave this a rotten score though. He says, this indeed is a tale full of sound and fury, signifying nothing except maybe the end of this particular monsterverse. So, but 1.5 out of 5. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, James does have a point here. The 1954 Godzilla movie was, an analogy for nuclear weapons. Godzilla King of the Monsters was heavily about the balance of nature. The Monsterverse itself hasn't really leaned into the message of whatever it may be. Yeah, I mean, I can't blame people for wanting to hold films to a higher standard. Jake, rotten score of 2.5 out of 5, and he said, overseeing the mayhem is director Adam Wingard, who started out making wittily brutal low-budget horror films before becoming a studio gun for hire. Absolutely no sign of his old personality is evident here. So I suppose Jake here is arguing that Adam Wingard has lost his soul, his vision maybe with this. It's just maybe turned out corporate schlop. Yeah, I haven't seen Adam Wingard's earlier work. If you've seen this new movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, and seen Adam Wingard's earlier work and are a fan of him, how does it compare to his older work? Let us know in the comments. Anyways, that Jake Wilson was top critic. John says, so much is going on that the film's running time feels scarcely enough to contain its threads, but at least it looks well edited, with the bonus of creature fight action that feels tightly choreographed. 3 out of 5. So overall, it's got a good review. Yeah, it's interesting that he highlighted the well-edited aspect of it. I don't know if he was a fan of how the editing itself happened or that he just meant the pacing of it. Let's see here. Victor gives us a rotten review, 5 out of 10. The movie brings all you can expect from its premise condensed in an astonishing third act, but forces us to go through a tedious ordeal that repeats the mistakes of his predecessor in order to get there. Yeah, this review right here is just bringing back nightmares of the whole plot of Godzilla King of the Monsters, where I can't remember, I don't bother remembering the human characters' names, but the female antagonist just thinking that she had to wipe out humanity with giant monsters, apparently to restore balance, and somehow that was supposed to be relatable. Yeah, I'm terrified that we're going to end up in that same boat again with this movie with that type of review. Gabriella says, the monsters are as usual the real stars of the film. The final battle is hallucinating and a spectacle worth watching on the big screen. The humans, let's forget about that. 3 out of 5. Yeah, that is one thing that Michael Dougherty, I hope I'm saying his name right, got right about Godzilla King of the Monsters is the portrayal of Rodan, King Ghidorah, Mothra, Godzilla, it was spot on. He truly understood those monsters, and it looks like Adam Wingard truly understands the monsters also, which is great. Maria says, watching it on the biggest screen possible with the best sound system within reach, Godzilla vs. Kong entertains with the famous battle it promises and little else. Yep, more of the same. The next review, there are no rules. All we need to do is enjoy and support our favorite monster. 4 out of 5. Yeah, once again, I partly disagree. I think it's completely acceptable for audiences to demand more from studios to put out more quality, better writing and stuff. But like I said, it's Godzilla. I think Godzilla deserves better than the cheesy fun that we've gone through throughout its history. But I mean, I'm going to accept the cheesy fun, but I think it's okay to be harsh with your reviews a little bit. The next review says, this new crossover promises a festival of visual effects to develop the shocking duels between giants, but the rest of the almost 2 hours are of an alarming and disappointing dramatic precariousness. Yep, I don't have anything else to add to that because it's what we've been reading time and time again here. When our own world appears to be on the edge of ruin, these monsters feel like our primal fears made incarnate. But the movie suffers from the same malady as so many modern blockbusters. It's immensely watchable, but instantly forgettable. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Same thing with music nowadays. You hear all these songs on the radio, and maybe it's just me being cynical. People are putting out all these movies and music that are just flash grenades, pretty much. They make a big bang, but by the end of the year, nobody even remembers it anymore. John says, Godzilla vs. Kong mostly delivers on his promise of a big monster fighting another big monster. It just depends whether you're willing to sit through the toe-curling bad setup that surrounds it. 2 out of 5. Watching these famous monsters share the screen for the first time since 1963's King Kong vs. Godzilla in a series of expertly choreographed battles packs real wallop. Let's see here. Jesus says, the Monsterverse has finally learned from its mistakes. The film is really entertaining with great visuals and made to see it in a movie theater. Yeah, 8 out of 10. Wow, that's great. Another letdown with Godzilla King of the Monsters was not only was it a drastic shift in tone, but we just got done seeing Kong Skull Island a few years earlier, which had tons of daytime action. And then here we are back at King of the Monsters and everything was at night again. Most of it was. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me with that, especially with the fact that Warner is currently re-releasing the Godzilla 2014 movie on 4K with brightened screens, however you want, brightened CGI scenes or whatever. Yeah, if you know, is the Blu-ray that comes with that 4K going to also be enhanced also to make it more visual, or is that strictly for the 4K version? Jim says, Godzilla vs. Kong deserves to be warmly embraced as a cheesy, old-style popcorn seller, with just enough punch and crunch spectacle to make up for its slow start, thin characters, and sloppy storytelling. 3 out of 5, yep. This monster movie would probably look spectacular wherever you watch it, but it absolutely dazzles on the big screen with epic monster-on-monster action and thunderous, almost deafening sound effects. 4 out of 5. Wow. Peter says, if King of the Monsters tickled you, then this monstrous battle should suffice. If not, and you want your mindless action to have a little more ironic intelligence, this is one fight not worth the spectator fee. Oh boy. Harris says, Godzilla vs. Kong delivers exactly what it promises on the tin. It is brimming energy and enthusiasm, and is a brazenly gonzo rock'em sock'em monster mash filled with satisfying visual spectacle. 4 out of 5. Mission accomplished. Whoever wins, the other guy's fans also wins. Okay, so he's not giving away who wins or whatever, but he says no matter what side you're on, you're going to love the fight, apparently. Godzilla vs. Kong revels in its own outlandish premise and delivers everything you paid for. 3.5 out of 5. Jonathan says, it's the big ape versus the radioactive lizard. Done right. 3.5 out of 5. An absolutely bonkers good time. 15.5 out of 20. It requires the entering of an unspoken agreement between viewers and filmmaker, which is, we suffer through interminable human interplay and dialogue pilfered from old instruction manuals, and they deliver scenes of cataclysmic, eye-gouging destruction. A totally bombastic, insanely ridiculous monster flick, and easily one of the most impressive ever put on the screen. It delivers exactly what it promises. Those looking for an extravagantly brainless popcorn spectacle will have an absolute blast. 4 out of 5. A majestic spectacle. The film hews closer to Toho's 60-year-long franchise than earlier installments of the MonsterVerse, venturing deeper into the sci-fi territory, while tagging more beloved kaiju characters into the mix. 3.5 out of 5. And finally, Casey says, Wingard gave us a good reason that a movie like Godzilla vs. Kong is meant to be experienced in the cinema. 4 out of 5. That's all great. Yeah, this James Marsh, though, it really hits a point for me here, though, is, you know, I'm just waiting for the MonsterVerse to bring in the alien aspect. You know, when the UFOs, aliens, or the underground civilization rises up with something like Megalon or whatever. We have a lot of that crazy sci-fi aspect in the Toho films still to tap in. I was thinking that we kind of moved past that era of Godzilla films, but, you know, I guess Hollywood isn't too shameless to go down that route this quickly. All right, so please stay away from spoilers. Try not to post anything in the discussion below in the comments. Regardless, be just aware of what people are saying. So, all right, let me know if you have plans to see this in theaters. Can you find this somewhere safe to go? Do you feel safe? I have to go grocery shopping fairly often around people who don't wear masks, unfortunately, and so sitting in a theater for a little while isn't going to be that much worse. I still don't personally feel comfortable going to restaurants, but like I said, we're a little spaced out in the theater. Not everybody in the theater is going to have their mask off like at a restaurant, but that's just my opinion. I'm not trying to get political right now. But yeah, let me know your plans. All right, Mosties, thanks for watching.